directly from Cheyenne with them.
Nice.
Screen capture is recording in 3 seconds. That'll bring Lionel in.
It's amazing how close Cheyenne really is to Greeley. I thought it would be like this huge drive, but it's not.
And there he is on the screen. Look at him.
Man, like with
Look
4 pair of glasses. All right.
You have to come prepared.
Man,
He's ready for anything.
You got competition out there.
Are you ready? Are you ready to do this?
I'm so ready.
All right. Well, let's do this then.
Ready. Okay.
Wow, this week has been filled with amazing things. I just want to let everybody know that I'm pretty stoked about life in general.
Oh,
That's awesome.
Ken, I got to get pictures of this table and dimensions and stuff. I'm going to make a 3D model of it, HO scale, so that you can put the action figures around it.
Nice.
Like we have enough action figures now with Lionel, you, me, Mike, and John Baticola and stuff that they can have a collection of.
Here's a teaser. I'm working on the What's Neat This Week home game that will be out next year.
Oh yeah,
it'll be great.
Like,
pictures.
What's Neat This Week Monopoly?
I know all those pictures. I lived those pictures. So.
All right. That's possibly the longest opening we ever had. Here we go, folks.
Wait, we're opening? I need to do a countdown.
James or Joshua Barton.
You can count better than I can.
Backwards?
5, 4.
No, just 3, 2, 1 will be great.
No, I'm screwed up.
Ready?
3, 2, 1.
The What's Neat This Week video podcast is supported by enthusiastic model railroaders just like you.
These are anyway.
And by GL Robotics. With over 61 colors of 3D printing filaments in stock, your gateway to new technology. Check out their website at glroboticsusa.com. Further support is provided by Microengineering, keeping you on track with quality products for 55 years. Check out their website at www.microengineering.com. Order from your local dealer or order direct by calling 1-800-462-6975. Additional support is provided by Spring Creek Model Trains, your destination for model trains. Stop in and say, wow. Check out their website at springcreekmodeltrains.com. And by Intermountain Railway Company, where the detail makes the difference. Check out their website at intermountain-railway.com. Additional support is provided by Yelsma Graphics, America's leading distributor of quality railroad art and embroidered clothing since 1985. Check out their website at yelsma.com. Further support is provided by the NCE Corporation, the power of DCC. Visit their website at ncedcc.com. And thank you for supporting the What's Neat This Week podcast. This is the What's Neat This Week, show number 245 for August 19th, 2023. I'm your host, Ken Patterson, host of the What's Neat show over at Model Railroad Hobbyist Magazine, one of the most amazing online digital magazines in our hobby that there is. He creates so many pages, Joe Fugate does.
Sure
and
does.
The September What's Neat just got done yesterday. Last night, in fact, it was uploaded by 11 o'clock. I know, Jeff Schultz, I know you're happy. You got to get that done and drive off to the Anna Murray National on Sunday. So, with that said, this is the best hobby in the world, and I've got some of the best people sitting around me. Starting on the end where Mike always sits, I've got James Regier.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, James. So on Skype land.
There he is. Look, he's finally here.
We have Lionel Strang.
He's got supervision tonight with his...
That's right. He's making sure he can see anything that we throw at him tonight.
Yeah,
I cannot wait.
I know, right? Sitting right next to me is my favorite blonde on the planet, Holly Van Lanningham.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, baby.
Hi.
And sitting right next to Holly, I've got one of the best people in our family, Joshua Barton.
Hi, everybody, and hi, baby.
I love it, right?
Alrighty.
We got a lot of neat stuff to talk about tonight. This is the last show of this month, and I'm going to start out with some beautiful models that we got from Intermountain Railway Company in Longmont, Colorado this week. Thank you very much. These models are starting both. I got HO scale and N scale models tonight to talk about. Starting with this Canadian National, they're ET44 ACs. But this first unit I'm going to show you is absolutely exquisite. It is the Veterans unit, locomotive number 3233, and it's painted out with the American flag and a Canadian flag. On one side it says, "Thank you for your service," geared towards the troops, and on the other side it says the same thing in French. But I'm showing you pictures of both sides of this locomotive shot outside and on top, and it's an absolutely amazing looking locomotive.
Now, if you can't see the back of this locomotive, don't adjust your screens. It's in camouflage.
It is in camouflage.
But I'm bummed.
In fact, when I opened up the box, Landon, your son, got all excited about, our son got all excited about this locomotive, that it's the Army unit. That's all he said. And I just imagined him taking it upstairs and rolling it on the carpet because it's one of his favorite units.
No.
And it is beautiful. The next one is the Canadian National ET44 AC. This is the 100th anniversary unit locomotive on the table. Locomotive number 3242. Looks amazing in outdoor sunlight, and those rear grills, I mean, it's a very unique looking locomotive. The last one I've got is a Canadian National ET44 AC locomotive in HO scale, and this is in the Wisconsin Heritage, Wisconsin Central Heritage paint scheme. Locomotive number 3069. And I mean, with the white roof and everything outside and the black trucks, it looks absolutely amazing. These come with ESU Loc sound, and we ran them on the layout last week during last week's show, and they've got some real pulling and pushing power, as they were the locomotives that accordioned the entire train. And thank you very much. Me and Landon spent some time this week downstairs after Mom went to sleep. And he helped me put this train back on the track. And I want to tell you what, I am looking so forward now as he's maturing to share this hobby with him and have him be part of the What's Neat Show, helping me build things. This is going to be amazing. He will be the new youth in the hobby, and his name's not Daniel. It is Landon.
It's a whole new generation.
It's another generation.
Yeah, I see the things like that on Facebook all the time, you know, scrolling through, seeing all the use in the hobby. I see all kinds of stuff on Facebook. You know what else I see on Facebook? I see posts of a great man that says, "Live like it matters."
That's this
all
guy.
the time. And that's this guy right here, Lionel Strang. Hi, Lionel. How are you tonight?
Hi, Joshua. How are you?
I'm fantastic.
Do I have to call you baby?
Nope, you sure don't. You can call me Joshua. You can call me Sugarfire. You can call me the artist formerly known as Sugarfire. And I also answer to Pete, but only sometimes.
Okay.
Pete.
I know, right, Lionel? Hey, Lionel, do you like N scale?
It's kind of like a bad Wi-Fi signal.
Oh,
Sometimes it runs and sometimes it doesn't.
actually, these days, the manufacturers are putting capacitors. The stuff we had last week on the show, the Broadway Limited stuff, they put capacitors in those steam engines, so if they get on dirty track, they don't stall. But what I'm alluding to is I've also got from Intermountain tonight that I shot outside this week when the weather was fantastic. It's going to 100 tomorrow. I got these N-scale F7 locomotives, AB units. Both are powered. Intermountain locomotives, and these first one I want to talk about is Union Pacific locomotive number 1471, and its B unit sister number 1470B in the yellow freight scheme. The next ones I want to talk about are the MKTs. I don't know why I'm so nervous tonight. The MKT locomotives. These are in green.
Why are you nervous, Ken? Why are you nervous?
There's a lot to cover on tonight's show, and I want to make sure I get it all right and get through it correctly. The first ones that I'm talking about, the second ones are the F7s, Missouri, Kansas, Texas, in green and yellow. They're actually really beautiful. They do not have steam generators on them, just like the Union Pacifics didn't, because these are freight locomotives. The A unit is number 72C, and the B unit is number F7B75E. And I'm showing them to you in outdoor sunlight. They do look good together. The last ones from Intermountain tonight in N scale, and they make these in multitude of paint schemes. You can check them out at the intermountain-railway.com website, or the Alaskan Railway units. F7s, A unit is number 1508, and its sister B unit right behind it is 1517 in this photograph. Absolutely beautiful models, and yes, I tested these. They run sweet on the N-scale layout that we have.
You know, Trains Magazine actually featured the Alaska Railway in its latest issue, and I think it was their 100th anniversary or something like that, connecting to help create the Alaska Pipeline and all of that. So that was its reasons for existing, but yeah.
Absolutely amazing. So go ahead and Joshua, throw it back out to Lionel.
So, Lionel, what you doing today? What's your day been like?
This is what happens to me when you're dealing with the dude. As everybody knows, Ken is the dude. He's simply the dude in Model Railroad.
The dude abides.
He's the modeler known as the dude. And so he calls me up about a week ago and he says, Lionel, I want you to be on the show.
I do.
I'm like, well, that's the first day I do my charity walk of 60 miles or 100 kilometers. And he says, yeah, but I want you on the show. But I'll be tired, Ken. Yeah, but I want you on the show. I said, do I have to? And he said, yeah.
And here you are.
But you know what? I got a question for you. How come whenever I'm on the show, there isn't like a cast of thousands around? I feel like I'm brought in as kind of like the AAA relief pitcher.
Well, see, you fill so much content that we don't have room for anybody else.
Oh, I see. Okay, that's what that is. All right. So yeah, anyways, I did today. I have this charity walk that I do every year for the hospital that I went to for cancer, and so far we've raised, after this year, we'll have raised about $150,000.
Congratulations.
Wow, that is amazing.
And the hospital is the Margaret, what's the name of it?
Princess Margaret Hospital in downtown Toronto, Ontario.
Yay.
All right.
And how many years have you been doing this?
This will be my 8th year of walking.
Wow.
And you know what I said when I got about a half a mile from the hospital?
What?
What the hell am I doing?
Well, that's great.
I'm an old guy. I'm an old guy, and I'm walking all that way.
I'm so thankful that you have the opportunity to grow old, because I do remember when you first got your diagnosis, it was not a positive situation, but something magical happened.
That's right.
Yes.
I told them I knew the dude, and they went right to work.
He's talking about the dude here.
Yeah, the dude.
Yeah.
He's talking about him.
Ken is the dude. Everybody knows Ken's. On my podcast, Ken, I don't know if you know it, but I have a podcast called The Modeler's Life.
Yes.
And the only way we refer to you on the podcast, and we love the Ken Patterson show. We love What's Neat. I guess it's the What's Neat this week show.
Okay.
Okay.
It is. Just say it is, Ken.
It is.
It is. Okay.
Yeah.
Ken, take a
I'll
deep
be
breath.
I'll be writing Ken's cue cards from now on.
Yeah.
Take a deep breath, Ken. Relax.
Yeah.
Breathe in.
Breathe out.
Breathe
Just let Lionel and I do the rest of the show. It'll be just fine. Okay. All right. You just sit back and relax. All right.
And this show is brought to you by NCE.
That's right.
It certainly is.
North
And
Coast Engineering.
we talk about the NCE power cab system at the end of the show, and in fact, the train that just derailed right prior to shooting the show
That was my
tonight,
fault. Too fast.
Joshua was running the NCE system. But there's so much other stuff on the website besides just the Pro Cab and the Power Cab, which is all we primarily talk about.
Yep.
There is all the panels, all the wiring, the daisy chain to the panels. There are so many other products to back up and add to the NCE system that it's worth taking a look at. And I would love it if you all would, because I know there's something out there that you'll look at and say, wow, I can upgrade my system with this or that, and it's perfect the way everything's integrated to work together.
I just bought signal detectors from them. I'm going to try and put those in, and it doesn't look like it's real hard. The one thing that I do love is I have NCE for mine, and I have the adapter so it goes to my computer so I can run JMRI through NCE.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I can have the computer running 3 or 4 trains by themselves. It's just a great, it's a great system.
Yeah, it is.
Well, the best thing about NCE is when you're running your Bachmann trains, it works really well.
That's true.
I know, right?
That's very true.
So,
It's good, Dave.
See? Look at this.
I know
Yeah,
readers'
that's right.
comments were not kind to me last week, gentlemen. Take it easy. Scotty Hicks sent me this
Love
pencil
you,
tonight
Scotty.
from the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. And as you see here, it's got an eraser on both ends. So I can erase the material as we cover it instead of crossing it out. Therefore, nobody... Right.
Yeah,
He was worried because I'm going to lose an eye eventually sitting next to you.
Well, right, and now especially with
And-
Holly there, you got to watch out.
Right. So now
Okay, Holly can stick up for herself.
there's
trust me.
2 erasers on that pencil. That's great.
So a lot of exciting stuff happened this week, Lionel, on our end, and we're about to launch into something really special. A phone call that I got on Wednesday, I think it was. Was it Wednesday? No, Tuesday night. Tuesday night I got this phone call that we had a special guest that wanted to come over and visit here. And I asked Holly, I said, hey, Holly, by the way, there's a concert at Riverport. Would you like to go to it on Thursday? So let's launch into talk about Nick Campbell, who
All
came here.
right. So I got a call from my friend Nick Campbell from the Weathering Shops. I'm sure a lot of you guys follow that website and everything and see a lot of the great stuff. And Nick Campbell contributes a lot to that that website. He's a big Model Railroad. He's a big fan. He watches the show all the time. So he called and wanted to see if he could come over. He was here. He got here Tuesday night and was only going to be here till Thursday night. So there was a time restraint. And I said, you know what, for I will take the day off and I'll show you around St. Louis. So I picked him up and we went to a couple model railroad shops, Mark Twain and Schaefer's, and then went to the Union Station, showed him Union Station, took him to the Transportation Museum, took him here. I got a picture here.
Now, what band is he with?
Well, I'm getting to that.
Okay.
The drum, see, I'm building up. It's called building up my story. Okay, so the first picture is here. Nick and Ken sitting at this very desk here on Tuesday or on Wednesday.
Yes.
I also took him to Sugar Fire, and here's a picture of me with all the gang at Sugar Fire. He wanted some good food. Nick is a drum tech and a part-time drummer for the band Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Lynyrd Skynyrd.
And that's what he does for a living. Mike is the main drummer, and he sits right behind Mike during a show and helps him with any of his needs. And then when Mike can't play, he fills in. So I have this next picture is, you can see Mike in the background and the guys from Lynyrd Skynyrd here, and this is in Las Vegas at the Hard Rock Cafe last October. Mm-hmm. And so he was gracious enough to give us some tickets since I took time out and showed him around St. Louis and did a bunch of train nerd stuff with him and loved every minute of it. So he invited me and a friend to the sound check. So here's a picture of me at the Lynyrd Skynyrd drum set.
Look at you.
There we
With,
go.
I mean, the smile on my face tells everything. And then here's a picture of my view from sitting at that very drum set during the day.
I think Lionel has a question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Lionel.
Go on.
I think I've had too much wacky grass because I don't see any photos.
Oh, see, Ken was supposed to fax those to you during the meeting this afternoon in the green room, but apparently he didn't. I apologize. And
Yeah,
I'll send
when we
those
did
to
the-
you at the end of the show so you can look at them.
When we did the read through, I didn't. Yeah, he didn't hand me any
Yeah,
pictures.
he
or
was
anything.
supposed to.
That's a little something people don't know about the show. There's at least 1 or 2 read throughs every time.
Yeah,
the show
every
is-
single we
and
It's always rehearsed very
It
very
is, I mean,
meticulously.
over and over and over again.
And
So,
I did not totally show up at the last second and late even.
yeah,
You know.
yeah,
yeah,
So-
Ken was really mad at you, James.
yeah. He was.
So what other cool pictures have you
So,
got?
Nick was nice enough to give Ken and Holly a ticket for the show that night,
Yes,
and
we got to
myself
go on a
and my
date.
friend. Yeah.
We did.
So we all met up there, and here's we have a video of the lawn here when we were sitting out at the lawn, and then I have a video of all of us with the crowd behind us, and it was a fantastic show.
It was a good show.
Oh, I have the video that you probably already ran of him doing the.
I might not have run that yet, but he's doing it. What he's doing is he's testing
Correct.
the equipment.
So they set everything up and they get everything ready, and then they do what's called a sound check. So they'll check the sound of every single drum and cymbal, every single guitar, every microphone, and everything, and then they'll push that back. And so ZZ Top set up after them because they played first.
Right.
And it was really neat. I'll tell you, these guys have it down to the second. They can break a stage down in a few minutes and it's all put away and ready to go. It was 7 different semi-trucks for the whole shindig.
Yes.
Oh,
and,
wow.
and then there were 5 different buses that they were on too. So when they do this, he says 100 days out of the year he's gone doing this.
Pretty amazing.
Oh, wow.
It was
Yeah.
amazing, and it was such a great time.
Did you talk
So-
about those pictures?
I did. I
did.
already
ya?
did. You weren't listening.
I was
I
listening.
don't see any photos. What's going on here?
Hold on, I'm getting ready to send them to you. All right, let me get on my phone.
All right.
I like
Hey,
the picture of
you
us.
know
That was
what,
cute.
Joshua?
I need to make
Yes, sir.
Your story reminds me of my sweet home in Alabama.
Oh, I love
They played that.
song. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
right. Yeah.
They
I
played
played that one. Yeah.
Yes, they did.
I was cutting a rug at a place called The Jug. Yeah, it was a great time, and those guys, they're celebrating 50 years of rocking. And boy, they haven't let up at all. So
And Holly said, you said that group was one of the first concerts that you had ever went to.
Well, no, I went to it in 1999.
1999. Okay.
nice.
It was fun.
It was fun.
Yeah,
It was a
it
good
was.
time.
It was a great time.
Yeah.
And
I'm
I
gonna
know
pass
that's
my
not
bedtime.
train related, but check out Nick at the Weathering Shops, Nick Campbell. He's got a YouTube page for not only his drumming, but his artwork and trains. And he's all on the Weathering Shop, so check him out there too.
Oh, neat.
His weathering skills are up and beyond. I mean, he is
Amazing,
quite
yes.
honestly very
He
talented
does.
at that.
And he has a photo for every one of them to back them up. So.
Yes. And his scenery's good too. His
Oh,
ballast was
yes,
beautiful. His
yes. Mm-hmm.
outdoor photography was amazing. Nick is an overachiever. He truly is.
At everything he does.
I know, right, Lionel?
Yes, sir.
Are-
Absolutely.
You're also an overachiever, aren't you?
Not that I know of, but it's... What have I done now? Do I owe you money?
So, A Modeler's Life, how many episodes do you think that you have done in...
I think I was thinking about this the other day, and I think it's over 800.
Wow. And your first episode was at Tom Barberley?
The very first interview was Tom Barberley. Absolutely, that was the first one, and I think that we got a couple of emails from that, and I did viewer mail, and then we did Tom Barberley again, and pretty quickly, within a very short period of time, we had 1,000 listeners. And then we started getting a lot of email, and away we went. We were almost to a million downloads since we started.
Wow. And
nice.
and you guys are now on Patreon too, correct?
We've been on Patreon for the last few years, yeah.
Very
So on
cool.
Monday it's free. It's the free channel. It's that's where we interview people, and it's a lot of mostly primarily interviewing and checking in with people. And on Tuesday, for just a few cents a day, you can have twice as much podcasting, and that's our paid channel. That's the channel that supports the podcast. And when we have our picnics and things, we use that money for buses and renting RDC coaches and all sorts of stuff.
And then do you still have a thing where if you pay so much a month and you get a free T-shirt every once in a while?
That's right. We have 2 levels. We have right now it's a $5 level and a $10 level. And if you're a $10 a month member, every year you get a free T-shirt.
Nice,
Now,
nice.
mailing out stuff is I'm not my best at that, so
Right.
but I'm trying to keep up.
Well, now I keep giving you $4.99 because I just hate to give you another penny, but I really want a shirt.
Well, then you're gonna have to up that to $10.
Darn it.
Or unless you know what somebody on the show that maybe have a soft spot for you.
I'm gonna get Ken's credit card here. in
He
a few
knows
minutes.
people.
Yeah.
Just-
Somewhere in there within your first 10 shows, as I recall, and I hope I'm not wrong by this, but I was on your show.
You were on my show. You were one of my very first people that was to be on the show, and it was great. I love interviewing you.
It was
Everybody
good.
was-
I mean, we went on for hours.
Your Lionel, your show and me listening to your Ken Patterson interview was the one that's how I knew Ken Patterson was in St. Louis, because he was telling a story, and I just told the story the other day. But in your interview, Ken was talking. Yeah,
You guys are fucking
in your interview, Ken was talking about how he was on this bridge taking this picture with this layout on top of his car, and how one of the boxcars blew off and went into the river.
I'm going to show the picture of it.
Okay.
My Toyota Supra is pulled off to the side of the road. The micro-engineering 6-foot-long bridge that I spent all week building was sitting on the guardrail of this bridge near 141 and Highway 44.
Yeah.
And sure enough.
And so he's telling the story on your show, and I'm picturing in my head, because I've driven over that bridge 1,000 times, and I go, oh no, Ken Patterson's lives in St. Louis.
Right.
Yeah, it was.
The bridge would vibrate.
Are we literally just finding out that the modeler's life made the connection between Joshua Barton and Ken Patterson?
Yes, this is breaking news.
As it's-
Dun, 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 dun. I knew about Lionel before I knew about. Well, I knew about Ken.
That's
but he
because
was
he's a
some-
more lovable
he
man.
was
He's
some
cuddly,
random.
he's big, he's kind of, look at him. He looks like a nice guy.
I mean, Lionel's pretty awesome.
He's got a great sense of humor. He does a lot to help the world with regards to cancer research
Yeah.
and all the modelers that he has touched.
And he throws a great barbecue.
Oh, I haven't had that yet.
Oh yeah, you need to come. Yeah, every year.
Joshua and Mike Buddy came up to Rochelle to visit us
That's
when we
right.
were having our annual
That's right.
barbecue.
And here's a picture of it right now. You're hating me for the edit, but I got to do it.
it has to be done.
Picture, I don't see any picture.
There you go. There they are, right there. So,
Lionel, there's something else we have in common. When James Wright ran a competition to find out who had the best audio podcast and video podcast, you and I got
yeah,
these
that's
really pretty,
that's right.
pretty little plexiglass thingies.
Yeah, it's backwards
Yeah.
to the crew now. So
It
it's-
is?
Yeah, there
Yeah,
you go.
there we go. Now it's
looks
right.
good.
Yeah, there you go.
Right, I have a picture of this on the computer. I'll put that on the screen.
Perfect.
Yeah.
But Lionel got one, we got one, and it's the last time we ever. Have you gotten any awards since? You got the hot dog award, I think.
Yeah, I got the hot dog. award.
Yeah.
The hot dog award. I mean,
Nice.
What's the
That's
hot dog?
what would?
no ketchup on your hot dog. Do
Right.
you remember
Ketchup
that?
on-
Do you have that
Well,
around
if
there?
you're above the age of 12, no ketchup.
Is that trophy within your
I put
reach?
mustard on mine.
No, it's not. It's in my
Yeah,
office.
that's
in
fine.
a prize.
It's right next to his Oscar and his Emmy.
Okay.
Yeah. It actually sat on my secretary's desk for about a year until she said enough already.
I
like the hot dog award.
I cannot eat a hot dog without thinking of Modeler's life. You know, it's,
No,
There
it's
you go. Exactly.
as I recall, and I don't have a photograph of it, but the hot dog award was a trophy with a large hot dog in chrome, about 1.5 feet high, and it was a big hot dog standing on end.
So, Ken, what's the next big project that's coming up for Ken Patterson on What's Neat this week?
That's-
What's Neat.
That's what we were just talking about.
yeah.
Is it a secret?
Yes. Top
Well,
secret.
that's okay. You know what? Nobody's watching, so
Look,
we're okay.
look.
Go ahead.
It's gonna involve trains.
Yes. True that.
and building stuff.
Why can't you tell us? Give us a hint. Give us a hint. See if we can guess.
Because the last year and a half, I've been subcontracting out a lot of videos to Jennifer Kirk and George Bogatak and a lot of other wonderful people that have provided us with content so that I could spend more time producing the podcast and otherwise...
All right, you just need to mute all this out and put a blurb and be like censored, and then
go.
they don't know anything, okay?
Well...
To be continued.
Yes. I mean,
be continued,
I've
yeah.
created a new relationship in the last year and a half, and I love it, and it takes time, and now eventually I'll bury myself in the basement, and she'll never see me again because I'll start producing more videos.
Oh, so you're saying it's cost you money?
It also
because
costs
you met
money.
Holly.
No.
Now you've had
Whew. All right.
holy moly! You
Yeah.
know she's sitting right there.
Yeah, I know. Can you believe that? And he's saying things like that?
No, unbelievable. Holly, I apologize
This is
on behalf of
I you know what I'm
This is
hearing
why
is
I
that
brought him on the show.
I'm a little appalled myself.
what I'm hearing is that he'd rather spend time with Holly than with his trains.
Oh, okay.
Which,
Oh,
So-
she told me the other day that if we win that lottery, yes.
Although-
yes.
Although Holly may prefer that you spend some more time with your trains.
So,
There's a drum there. Boom, boom, boom.
that's right. That's right.
This is why we brought Lionel on, because he adds something to the show that just doesn't happen all the time, unless you got Austin Allard in the background.
That's absolutely
That's
right.
right.
Austin and they both have something in common. They're comical.
Your
Yeah.
fans want you to build something.
Absolutely.
Well, we've got the N-scale layout eventually that needs to get finished. I need to rip up the third rail on this layout and start rebuilding these
Thank
modules.
you.
Yes.
There's a lot of N-scale models that have been showing up that would lend themselves well to a different, newer N-scale layout.
Will you write him a honey-do list and write all that stuff down?
Plus,
for him,
you know,
please?
there's so much more to do.
Plus, if I remember correctly, Holly was really interested in getting into the hobby as well. Is that right? So
we
Yes.
we need to Blue Nami every one of your engines. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to do. Ken.
Yes.
A lot of money. So send your donations to Ken Patterson's Art One.
Let's start a GoFundMe for Ken.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's right.
Bring Ken back into the hobby.
Yeah.
Hey, Ken, I have a question for you.
Okay,
I have
Lionel.
a podcast question for you that I ask on my podcast a lot.
Go
I
ahead.
think this is a great question for you. Joshua, I want you to grade this question. Tell me if it's a good question or not. James, try to stay awake, buddy. So, Ken, how long you been doing this What's Neat This Week show?
For Model Railroad Hobbyist, I started in November 2012.
Okay. Like this little half-hour deal?
No, I wanted to do a Tony Kester's type of trains of thought where I would do one photograph from any one given ad job that I had at the time and write about it, write what went into it, and just create a monthly gig where I had a retainer coming in for additional income just to support the family. And then I went out and bought a video camera, and that changed everything because I found out that you could say so much more with a video camera in 8 minutes than you could with a full-blown article and lots of text and a bunch of pictures. And it was the ability to convey and visually show somebody how to make a tree. You can't do that with 5 different still pictures. When you're actually doing it, the stuff's getting on the ground, the hairspray's getting all over your hands, and you get to see the mess that it could be, but the finished product is art. And as you go into water, you go into scenery, you go into fake fur, you go into ballasting, you go into wrapping a diorama in wood, you're carving foam, you're making a mess. The opening of this podcast, Chris Palomares always uses that clip where I'm using a chainsaw to wholesale cut an 8-foot long piece of foam that we eventually built this beautiful wintertime shot on for Athearn Trains, where we were copying a Robert Fischella painting of a train, Erie Lackawanna units running through the snow. And that's where that chainsaw clip came from. We were actually doing a job. There's so much that you can do, all the tools, all the foam, all the glues. I mean, there's no end to the art and the messes that you can make down here. And I truly do look back, and I want to get back into it like I used to be.
No.
Right?
Lionel, that was a great question. I give you a 9.9 out of it, but he kind of trailed off halfway through and just
Yeah,
you
like
know.
I didn't even actually ask the question. Yeah.
Right. So whenever you're ready to actually ask the question, just let us know and we'll take it from there.
I'm ready to go. I've been sitting here chomping at the bit. So Ken, as the digital media has made such a huge impact on the hobby, have you noticed from your angle, do you feel like the hobby's getting bigger and better, or do you feel like it's shrinking? Like, what has been your takeaway from all this digital media that you've been involved in?
It's the digital media that's brought the youth to us. It's something that you can't simply do with the pages of a magazine, either sitting in the grocery store or sitting on the hobby shop's shelves. It's the youth that are on their computers. They've got their little devices, and maybe they're not looking for us, but they'll see us and they'll click on it, and it's like, hey, that's interesting, or that's really cool, or that's something I can do. And that's another thing that, COVID was not necessarily a great thing, but when it came to our hobby, it forced a lot of people to migrate back into their private spaces, and they built models. They bought product. Our hobby experienced the month of December for literally 14 months straight, as I recall. And it brought a lot of youth into the hobby that we wouldn't otherwise have, and adults alike.
And I think too that you talk about the technology. You look at the advent of digital photography, really, and now everyone has their camera on their cell phone. They're taking pictures of their trains, and I think that has, at least in part, driven the detail, the superb detailing that we now see on models today. Like you look at these Intermountain locomotives. They have the knuckle couplers, or the extra knuckles, hanging off the front. They have all of these extra details because digital cameras are capturing it at angles and at levels of detail that the naked eye just doesn't see them necessarily. And so I think that's really been a revolutionary part of things too. And seeing them on programs like this or on Facebook, I think really sort of challenges people.
I think a lot of that is added to a lot of the people that are in the industry now. I mean, look at how much Gordy Robinson has done for the industry since he's been the president of the NMRA.
Right, Lionel knows him.
Yeah.
Look at all these younger generation people that are stepping into these big shoes to fill and just, doing great leaps and bounds of things.
Yeah.
There you go.
And speaking of detail, I was just noticing these Intermountain units. These have photo etched grills on them, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean,
sure do.
I remember when that was
That's standard
when
now,
that was revolutionary in HO scale, let alone N scale.
Well, we used to have to buy it from Keith Hapes at Plano Model Company in Texas
I remember,
to get our etched model.
I remember when my N scale unit would only run backwards.
Exactly.
All of these HO scale units, by the way, in the box come with extra sets of handrail stanchions all the way around in case you break theirs. That's something new that Intermountain's doing.
That's a great idea.
It actually is.
Yeah.
You have no idea how many
I have
people.
A follow-up.
Go ahead.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Yes, sir.
Sure.
And go.
So, all right, Ken, so you experienced dealing with these models as they've gone through the years. Even in the last 10 years, you've seen a noticeable change. Do you think the detail's getting out of hand and it's too much? Because you often hear a lot of complaints from people saying, I touch the locomotive and this piece falls off and that piece falls off. Like, would you like to see the detail continue to grow and these companies make fantastic models, or do you think a little bit of a pullback would be a better situation?
I don't know that they've overdone themselves in the detail department. I think at this point, I don't know what's missing anymore. I think they've got it all covered. And it used to be on the Midwest Valley Modelers layout that I would run Overland brass. We'd put $11,000 worth of brass locomotives and freight cars and passenger cars on that layout. And the reason for that was not to be pompous and show off, ooh, we got really expensive models. It was because they were durable. The brass models were able to hold up to the abuse of getting packed, unpacked, and going to 50 different train shows over the years. These plastic units nowadays, I'm telling you what, they're pretty robust, Lionel.
They sure are.
So I don't feel that the detail has made it so that, oh, look, I broke this or broke that. If you look at the Athearn handrails or these handrails on these Intermountain units, as you've seen, we've come a long way in the last 15 years where you can touch the stanchions and they don't break. They're not brittle. And so they do hold up to abuse.
Well, yeah, and I was noticing it, at the operating session at K10s on Thursday. You all were at Lynyrd Skynyrd, but I was at an operating session with Renata, and we were taking turns doing she was playing conductor and then playing engineer, and I was doing, we were taking turns doing those different roles. She did great at both of them. And I was noticing the number of, teenagers, of, young people that were operating on the layout, had stuff that they were very proud of. It's the largest number that it's been in a while. So
very cool.
It's definitely bringing in people. The one caveat that I have, and I do see some manufacturers starting to address this. I know that Scale Trains is now having some of their kits that you can build yourself for a lesser price. But as we get more and more detailed, the entry level models start disappearing from the lineup. That that you're either going to a train show and paying for something that was made 20 or 30 years ago and heavily used, or you're looking on eBay or somewhere else. But that's the one caveat that I see to all these details, that the entry level has sort of suffered a little bit.
There you
but
go.
I do see some manufacturers at the same time recognizing that and starting to remedy that.
Nice.
All right, so Lionel, you kind of opened up this one when you mentioned that I'm going to work with Holly and bring her into the hobby and show her, build this and build that. What would you like to build first, Holly? Lionel, how would you handle this? How would you go about this?
I'd give her something simple to build, something that would be fun, maybe like some sort of plastic kit from Walthers. It's not too complicated, and have her paint it and decorate it and everything, and see how it turned out.
That's easy.
Yeah.
Something simple. Something. Would you like, Holly? Do you feel like you'd like to build a structure or do scenery, or what do you
I
think
wanted
you
to
want
do
to do?
scenery at first.
Yeah. Well, then give her a.
Well, look, we can pull a 6-foot spot out of the layout right out back here that's empty, and
Yeah.
she can do. You should do an intermodal yard or something.
Right.
That'd be
Have
cool.
her do some video.
I mean, of all the things you've seen down here, what really interests you is there anything that impresses you or anything that you would love to just dive into? Whether it's modeling something from your childhood that you remember when you were young, or there's a lot of
How
people
about a
that do
ceiling
that.
to floor mountain scene?
That'd be cool.
See, I told you.
I mean, all of it down here is neat.
Yeah.
That's what's neat this week.
Right. And the train scenery. The
So
tracks.
I like your guys' shirts.
I know, right?
Your guys are kind of matching, but
Oh, I get this.
I
I
don't-
get it. It's
Yeah.
a segue. Into
you
the
see that?
elsewhere.
Yeah,
Well-
I was trying to do a segue, but Ken just didn't get that.
No.
And here we go.
No, I gave
Yeah.
I gave Nick Campbell a hat when he was down here, and somewhere in this
Nope.
paperwork there's a picture of me, or video. There's video of me giving.
Is there?
Nick
That might be
the
on my
hat.
phone.
Oh,
here.
no. I see several photos of
Right?
him wearing that hat. Yeah?
Well, we also had Nick and you watching a train go by on the layout. You guys were watching the Intermountain locomotives
Oh yeah,
running on that
you got all that
diorama
stuff. Yeah,
back
you
there.
have tons of footage. That's
I
awesome.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought giving him the hat would be a great segue to go into the Denny Yelsma segment tonight, because Denny sent us 18 brand new logos that are on his website for brand new products. And I'm going to start out with the Florida East Coast. This is a front of the E unit. And there's also a second photograph of the Florida East Coast Railroad with all the various railroad logos underneath that.
Nice. And then there's this third one that's a Florida East Coast Railway with the Grupo Mexico. So that must be the down south version.
I know, right?
Isn't that neat?
I should
Yeah.
cross these off as we do them, because
Yeah.
right next to that is this beautiful Southern Pacific F7.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice?
And the Black Widow paint scheme coming right at you.
And
Can
so-
you see that on your jacket?
So this next one, the Southern Pacific Cab Forward, is one of my unicorns. I've been looking for this in HO scale forever.
Yeah.
I know,
It's the
right?
Black Widow.
What's
That's-
called
Yeah,
the Black
that's
Black
Widow.
Widow
Black
scheme,
Widow
that's right.
scheme. Yeah.
Right, in the
Yeah.
silver. And we shot some Athearn units for Chris Palomares one night outside in the Black Widow paint scheme, which I'm probably digging out of the computer and showing right
Very
now. I hate it when I
cool.
do that
Yeah.
to myself. Spring Creek Model Trains in Deschler, Nebraska ordered some hats.
Oh,
and
look
Denny
at these!
shared us
I love that yellow color.
the yellow hat right there.
Yeah. And then how about this B&O? Linking 13 great states with the nation, B&O.
That would look good on the back of a jacket,
It
right?
sure would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Canadian National.
Yeah, the CN. That's the Vista Dome right there. That's their tail end car. That's pretty
cool.
neat as
Yeah,
well.
I like that.
Lionel, do you like all these pictures?
That's
Yeah, what photos? I don't
Oh,
know photos.
wait, he didn't send you these either?
they're on the
Jeez.
screen as we
Oh
talk
my
about them, Lionel.
goodness.
Oh, is that what's
Yeah.
happening?
Yeah.
Oh,
He didn't
I
brief
get it
you
now.
in. Yeah, see, he didn't brief you, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, but there's more.
There is. Look at that one.
The
You know-
Metra.
That is very cool.
The Metra, this is an F40 PH locomotive running. Great looking on the back of a jacket. DT&I Railroad. We're all familiar with that. They're
Yep.
orange, beautiful units.
Yeah, that's
Yep,
very
yep.
cool.
That was one of the units that Mike Buddy weathered for Athearn Trains one
M
time.
and Sano.
Right?
I love that one. That was
Yeah.
very cool.
That's in red.
Yep.
The Cedar River and Iowa Central Railroad, the
That's very
Krandic
cool.
route.
Yeah.
I see this one every time I go visit Sasha in Portland and Eugene, Oregon. That's
The
a
Willamette.
Willamette Western. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
That's very cool.
This is one we showed previously on the show, the Iowa route, Burlington, Cedar Rapids, and Northern Railway Company.
That's a great looking shield.
That
Yeah.
is.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what
very
Mike
cool.
Buddy
Beautiful.
said. The shield is
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say this word.
Nope, me neither. We're gonna show it to you
Let
though.
me see that.
You went to college.
Ask the guy
Help
that went
me.
to,
Muscatine and Iowa City.
There you go.
Thank you very much, James Regier.
shout out to
And that is in
Muscatine.
green.
Yeah, it's in green. The Muscatine and Iowa City Railroad Company.
Muscatina.
And that's all of those on that sheet of paper. I'm going to let James
Yeah.
do these last couple because my 2 pairs of glasses I'm trying to see.
Well,
I've got
You got
this
one
one.
on
If you need an extra pair of glasses, get with Lionel. He's got a bunch of them.
Oh
right
yeah,
there.
Hold on.
I'm noticing the Blue Comet here from Jersey Central.
Correct.
That's the one that was featured in that scene in oh shoot, what was that HBO series? Now I'm not remembering, but it was
Sopranos?
The Sopranos,
Oh.
where that guy gets whacked in Train World.
Oh my
Oh
goodness.
yeah.
He was running the Comet.
We had
talked-
some background photographs from that.
We
But-
talked with Mike about that.
And then there's also that Superdome from Southern Pacific.
Oh yeah, that's
That
super cool.
Rapido is right now producing an HO scale. That
That
they
would
had
be a great logo.
At the RPM meet. They had a few models of that, and it's looking fantastic if you're an SP
and
modeler.
by the way,
for
I
sure.
believe Rapido Trains is the sponsor of Lionel's show over
Yeah.
there, A Modeler's Life.
That's right. Rapido Trains, your fast track to model railroading fun.
That's right. Jason Tron, shout out.
Yeah, they
Nice
make
and
such
strong.
awesome
Way to
stuff.
The last logo I've got to talk about is this beautiful blue Comet steam locomotive. This is a 462 locomotive in the B&O paint scheme,
Yeah,
and a passenger car also
and
with
passenger
that.
car.
Very cool.
Again, another beautiful
Featured
logo.
in The Sopranos.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Denny Ellsma, for doing what you've done for us for the last 4 years of helping promote this hobby.
And
on this
remember,
show.
it's August now and it's 200 degrees outside, but in just a couple months it's going to get cold, so you want to order your jackets now.
Did you mention that gorgeous RDC there?
I did not.
And the,
Yeah,
and the crazy part is the Yellsma Graphics is located at 2238 Windy Creek Lane in Jacksonville, Florida.
That's right.
I stand corrected. That's not an RDC. That's the Chicago South Shore and South Bend line.
We'll forgive you that
That's
one
a
time.
good
Right.
save.
Yeah.
Because I did
So-
not know that railroad.
Yeah, so in fact, I rode that line when we were living up in South Bend several times to Chicago. It was a nice connection.
Yeah.
There you go.
Have we talked to Denny? Is the website buttons up yet?
The new website's getting redone right now. Randy Hook is working with
So
Denny?
if you need to place orders, give Denny a call.
Denny said, yeah, call him on the phone. Another thing is that next week is at NMRA National in Texas.
Yeah.
Denny will be there handing out What's Neat hats to anybody that walks up to him and asks him for him while supplies last.
Technically, it's right now.
So that means if
Yeah, I
Lionel...
was gonna say,
it's getting
Yeah.
started, yeah.
say that,
Yeah.
it's this week.
Yeah, it's
It's
Yeah.
always.
I'll
it's
be
always
heading down
next
there
week
on
the show.
I'll
You're
be
going
heading
there?
down there on Wednesday, in
Sweet.
fact,
Bring us
for the
back
National
some
Train
footage.
Show.
Nice.
So-
Lucky you. Wow, cool. But yeah, the
Wow.
train show is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday where where we buy the product and all
Right,
that
right,
stuff.
exactly. And
That's where
Train
Denny
show,
will,
yeah.
Denny will set up.
I'll be with the Model Railroad Hobbyist booth down there.
Okay.
So,
Nice.
I don't know why these erasers keep breaking off these
Because you
pencils.
keep pulling them off. Is that why I don't have an
Yeah.
eraser on mine?
They just kind of fall out.
Yeah, when
No,
you go
but
like
when you're
this, they
pulling on
fall
them,
out.
I asked them
so
the same
apparently
thing the other day.
you just want to deal without the safeties when you're brandishing those swords
He
around.
just
and-
wants to.
yeah.
So,
I know, Holly.
So Ken, why aren't you going to Dallas to the NMRA the national convention?
Because he never leaves the basement. He never
Well, he
leaves the
goes to-
property now. He's never in the basement now. But he never leaves the property.
This is a big week. School starts on Tuesday.
Yeah.
School
That's right.
starts. Holly's been getting school supplies. I know, right?
Don't get me started.
I know.
No, that's why I'm.
I want to get you started. I want to hear you talk about how awesome.
Look, they watch this show to decompress from getting all their kids' school supplies. So
Right.
let's
Yeah.
not talk about
Well, that's why I'm not going till Wednesday, because the girls start out on Tuesday as well, and so I want to be around for that. And so sort of a compromise. I have to be there for the show, but
right?
Plus, next weekend is the weekend we don't have to do a show, so I'm working on the October What's Neat, which is going to be the RPM show edit, all the interviews
Yeah.
we did, all the B-roll that runs with that.
That's going to be fun.
By the time you drop in Broadway Limited and Bachman interviews and maybe some drone footage and something else that I might build down here, we're going to have another great show for the month of October. Plus, I also look forward to the weekends when you don't work so we can hang out.
Hey,
Passing
Holly,
a buck on me, bud.
Holly, Lionel would
Yes.
like to ask you a question.
Yes,
is it true you work at the local one of the local Circle K's?
it is.
Is it true that you met Ken because he tried to leave without paying for his gas?
He was a paying customer.
Did you say paying or a pain?
yes.
Paying.
Yeah. After she caught up with him 2 or 3 lights down, it was love at first sight.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Lionel, we need to have you on more often. You add something to the show, some sparkle of humor.
You know what? Let's be honest. I'm awesome. Let's just cut right to the chase. And
That's
just get
kind of
right
true.
to it.
Kind of
I'm
true.
awesome.
Yeah, kind of.
What's your favorite podcast, Ken?
A Modeler's Life.
Good job.
Yes.
Yeah.
Boy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I really like the What's Neat This Week podcast shot every Saturday night down here
This
in
is
the
not a
basement.
podcast. This is a video YouTube show. This
Yes.
is not a podcast.
He sticks the word podcast in there to feel better about himself sometimes. So.
Okay.
Yeah. But don't take that away from them. Come on.
Yeah.
James Regier, this is going to be well over an hour show tonight, so you might as well talk about some of the stuff you've got on the table tonight.
Yeah, so I've been working on this beep here, working on the lighting. That's a slower process than anticipated. But since the this is the beep, of course, the 2.0, and I will be working on what I'm learning here from the more difficult parts to decide what I should put into a shell that'll make available for the general public to convert their Bowser VO1000s into beeps.
Very
Okay.
cool.
And here,
What's a beep?
the beep was an experimental locomotive that the Santa Fe made in their Claiborne shops. They were looking to recycle their old end-cab switchers from Alco, from Baldwin, from Fairbanks Morris, and essentially all these companies were no longer in the locomotive manufacturing business, and so parts were starting to get scarce. And so this VO1000 was an experiment to install a GM prime mover. It had Blomberg Jeep-style trucks, and it had EMD electronics. Essentially, the only things that it retained from Baldwin were the fuel tank, the frame, and the cab.
There you go.
And
Very cool.
they decided that at that point, the remanufacturer was expensive enough that it didn't really warrant further investment. But the VO1000 itself survived in service on up into the late 90s, and was the only unit not to be renumbered with the BNSF merger.
Right. So essentially, Lionel, it's a VO1000 with
Yeah.
like a GP7 long hood on it.
Yeah,
Santa Fe made one.
yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. And here I've been experimenting with Mike Buddy's Scotch tape technique on a spare cab
Nice.
It works.
to do the windows.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's working pretty nicely, and I'm noticing cutting it off is not scratching up the paint too badly, or at least it's not scratching up the primer. So
Very
that's
cool.
that's giving me confidence to try it on this model here. I also want to talk about these the steam tractors and the threshing machines, which are available for sale. If you go to my new Facebook model page, James Regier's Models, I've actually sort of set that up so that I can talk about it. Not everyone has to be my friend on Facebook to see it or to contact me or that kind of thing.
But we're all your friends.
Well, yeah, but I recognize that not everyone has a way to contact me because I have the privacy settings set pretty high.
Okay.
Yeah, the threshing machine and the steam tractor are available. And if you contact me in advance of me leaving for Texas, I'll try and have a few of them available for the show if you want them, so that you can save on shipping. That we don't have to send it through mail.
You should get Spring Creek to help you sell those too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. And here, some folks have asked me, like, what's next? I have this windmill model, as well as a 12-foot diameter stock tank, steel stock tank here, and a pump. I've gone through some revisions since I originally printed these things, so these don't represent the final product, but it does represent something to come.
Okay.
So that kind of thing.
Are you planning on releasing your tower that you made? That's the different pieces that interlock together.
Yeah, I could also do that radio tower.
Nice.
I've not decided how to do the electronics on it. Whether I'll leave that to the end users to do, just provide them with the
Tower
Arduino
itself,
controller and the tower, that sort of thing. But yeah, so those are all future possibilities. I haven't really gotten that organized yet, but the response to this steam tractor and the threshing machine have been great so far.
That's great. And
so-
what system do you print everything out on?
Well, these are all printed on an Anycubic Photon X so far.
P&L Robotics.
I got it from G&L Robotics.
Very cool.
Yeah. And
GNLRoboticsUSA.com. You
That's
got to
right.
get that in there to check
Yeah.
out their website, because he's got a lot of new machines.
Well,
on
Yeah,
there.
he has a
They
ton
have-
of colors of filament too, doesn't he?
they have new machines, but I'd say the number one thing that they add to the process is that you do have customer service direct from Greg and his staff, that they'll tell you how to set up your machine, how to level it.
Very
They'll
cool.
walk you through the initial stages so that you can actually get a print out, because when you buy it directly from Anycubic, you're sort of on your own or doing a lot of Google searches, and the customer service directly from Anycubic is famously bad. So G&L Robotics has made a lot of those bridges, made them into much more usable machines in that way.
There you go. Now, we got scanned at the show. You can get scanned in Texas.
That's
That's
right.
by
Yeah.
Mini Prints, right?
That's right.
That's right.
Bernard Helen right there in
Bernard
Toronto.
Helen will be down there
Lionel
as well.
Strang got scanned, and I couldn't believe how that little figure looked just like you, Lionel.
We got to
Oh,
talk
yeah.
to we ought to talk to him and see if he can make action figure size. Prints available of
I want action figure size of you.
You do?
Put on my desk.
I got scanned. You can put me on your
I know,
desk.
but we're waiting.
We're waiting.
Get the new Ken Patterson figure with the Kung Fu grip.
That's right. That's right. Well, he has his sheet. He
I
has
was
his-
standing here like this with my sheet of piece of paper.
He was standing there
right.
mild-mannered, not making his
We-
pencil
we
look
ha-
like a weapon at
We
all.
have this picture of all four of us showing
yeah, we
right here.
do.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
But Lionel, you were
Yeah.
like one of the first ones that got scanned, and it was so interesting. I mean, you wore shorts. Your whole figure, all of you was there.
And as,
I was the Bernard wanted to do it to help raise money for my charity walk, and I was the first person outside his family to ever be scanned, and I was not. Didn't want to do it, and finally I said okay, and I was basically in a bad mood while he was doing it. And when it was finished, I showed it to my secretary, and she immediately said, "Why are you in such a bad mood when he did it?" Because I had that kind of look to me. You know?
That's awesome.
That's how good they are. That's how good it is.
Yeah.
and it only hurts a little bit.
Yeah.
To get scanned. You know,
exactly.
like yeah.
You really want
And,
to put me on your desk?
I was taking bets on whether or not you could stand still long enough, Ken, to do it.
I couldn't. It was a minute.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
4 minutes, 4.5.
That was a
4.5
challenge.
minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was extremely difficult.
It sure
Yeah.
was.
Why is it so hard for you to stand still?
I have lots of energy, maybe.
He doesn't take his ADHD medication.
Yeah.
True that.
That's for a whole nother show.
Yeah.
That's great.
So you're really going to put me on your desk.
Yeah, I must say right there.
So if you're in a good mood, you'll talk to me and say sweet things to me, and if you're in a bad
She's going to
mood,
come home and I say, I don't like the way you talk to me at work today, Ken.
If she's in a bad mood, she'll put little pins into it. and
That's
that-
right.
that
It turns into a Ken voodoo doll, not a Ken action figure.
To my desk.
You know,
She'll drop you from the desk, and the resin will break, and then you're in trouble.
What's that, Lionel?
I was just going to say to Holly, there's other guys out there. You don't have to take the first guy that says hi to you.
oh Lord.
So you still have a few more days of walking out there, huh, Lionel?
I got another 4 days. Well, if I can keep up like I have the other years, it takes me another 4 days to get from where I started to where I finish. And it gets harder every year, but it's a good thing to do. It's and all the money goes to the psychosocial oncology clinic, which is all about helping patients and their families with the psychological pressure of dealing with cancer.
As a matter of fact, when I was in Winnipeg and I rode the Prairie Dog Central, they actually had a staged train robbery as part of the experience.
Nice.
And they took donations from all the passengers for breast cancer research charity, and that same kind of thing, helping families navigate that whole crisis.
That's right.
Lionel, thank you for everything you do for everybody. I mean, I know your show reaches out to as many people as ours does, and I mean, you're a shining light in the hobby.
Yes.
Well, I appreciate that, but it's a fun thing. It's a fun hobby to be in, and the people are great. And look at you and I, Joshua. We struck up a great friendship, even though I discovered you for Ken's show.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. Yeah.
Thank you. And I probably need to send you $5 or so, because that's all I
How
made.
long have you been doing this half-hour show? How many years?
Oh, jeez.
We started this one in 2017 at the behest of Chris Palomares telling us we needed to do it.
I wasn't here for the first one. I came in 2018, I think, something like that. So
Yeah.
One of the most beloved characters in model railroading is Joshua Sugarfire Barton, and I'm just finding out now that I was the one that discovered him.
you are, and you're free to talk about that on all of your shows.
Yeah.
And we'll have to get together.
Oh,
I would love to be on your show and hang out with you too.
Lionel Strang's talent agency.
Yeah, that's
right.
Lionel's been here. You've been here. You need to come back. You were on some of the very first early shows we did.
I'm talking about me being on his show.
Yeah.
Well, he could shoot his show down here. We'll just double them up.
Hey, you know what, Joshua and I'm going to interview Joshua for my podcast, not video show.
Okay.
And you know what we're going to talk about?
You.
The dude.
You're
the
dude.
It's all the dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I want a White Russian for some reason.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That sounds
I know, right?
all right.
Best hobby in the world with some of the best people in it. Have we covered everything going around the table now
Everything.
in 59 minutes
right.
tonight?
Oh, here's the drum head, and the drumstick says 50 years of Lynyrd Skynyrd that Nick gave Ken and Holly.
That was so kind.
Yes. Awesome.
Thank you,
That's
Nick.
Cool.
Thank you,
Yes.
Nick.
Thank you very
thanks,
much. And thank you, everybody, all the roadies and the techs for our Lynyrd Skynyrd. I had a fantastic time, and thanks for the band. You guys rocked our face off.
Yes.
Made you feel free as a bird, didn't
Yeah,
it?
that's right.
It did.
Oh,
Sure
the
did.
music was awesome. It was.
Hey, Joshua.
Yes,
are
sir.
Are they coming to the Toronto area or
I-
to Orlando?
I think they're. I'm almost positive they're coming to Florida because I think Mike Buddy and his wife are going to see them in Florida.
Well, then find out where it is
So-
and when it is, and use your influence, buddy, and
All
get
right,
me in there.
I got you. I got you.
All right, you got me covered.
Yeah, I got you covered.
All right, Joshua, you want to close this one out?
Yeah, I'd love to. I want to go run some trains because I derailed this one here, and that's why we didn't have a train on the show.
And you
so
were running
sorry.
it with the NCE.
I
You were running
was,
it.
and the auto racks that we got from Intermountain are all over the place. So oops, I got to fix them.
And that emergency stop button came in very handy, didn't it?
I didn't even push it, to be honest.
Oh,
Where
I know,
are
this
these
is- this-
photos. I didn't see any photos. I don't know what you people are talking about.
I was going to fax them to you, but you don't have a fax machine.
This is where Lionel
No one
starts to
has a
sing
fax
Happy
machine.
Trails. Haven't you ended your shows with that Happy Trails?
It's actually Happy
Some of the-
Rails, and that's
Happy
Happy
Rails,
Rails.
yeah.
He's not going to let us do that.
We're not gonna do
no,
that?
No, you can't do that.
I want to do that Happy Rails.
How
Okay.
about this? How about this? See if, hey, Joshua, let's see if Ken can get this.
Okay.
So remember, a Modeler's Life podcast is considered marginally adequate by 6 out of 10. Is he dead?
I think so. He may have had an aneurysm. We're not sure.
6 out of 10.
6
what?
out of 10 what?
You tell us.
Well,
Me,
you
me
tell
and
us.
James are starting to feel clueless. 6 out of 10 what?
You tell
Well,
us.
you fill it in. You're the guest, and you fill it in at the end of the show. 6 out of 10.
Dentists.
Recommend.
Videographer, guys with a Model Railroad video show.
The fact is what you do. I'm going to do this. The one thing about your show is, and I've told you this before, you've got the ability to bring the personality out of the individual. When you sit there and have a conversation with somebody on your show, it's not the intensity of all the cameras and all these lights. It's the real, genuine person that comes out. And you have always had that talent to bring that person out in every interview that you've done, and there's no other way, in my opinion, to explain it. It's way different than what we do here, where we're on a deadline, we're running through the show, we're trying to get done in 30 minutes, we're covering sponsors, we're covering all the details of all the different information. Your show is relaxed. Sometimes your shows last for over 2 hours, where you really get to know the individual that you're interviewing.
Are you kidding? Joe D'Amato was like a 37-part episode. It was epic.
Well, it's true. This
Well,
is
right now we're interviewing Ken McQuarrie, who has this fantastic layout in Pennsylvania. Wow, 3,200 square feet.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
so. Yeah, you've done a lot of great for the hobby. You've introduced a lot of people to other people that otherwise would never have gotten to know each other. Me and Joshua, for perfect example, right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well,
Thank you,
Holly's-
Lionel.
Actually, Holly's been listening to the show for the last 5 years, and she contacted me and said,
Yeah,
how do I
that's right.
meet this Ken Patterson guy?
Just give him time. We'll come to your gas station.
The dude.
I'm so lucky. I feel fortunate,
The dude.
right?
Dude.
All right, rock and roll. Coming up onto 63 minutes. Best hobby in the world with some of the best people in it, sitting right around me right now tonight. I love to say that. Hit subscribe, click that bell. Make sure that you tell your friends about the show. We're up past almost 16,000 subscribers now on the What's Neat This Week video podcast show.
Yes.
That's
See,
yes.
yeah.
Podcast video. Let's just keep it tied
Yeah,
together.
It's like an oxymoron.
Yes.
So you can't say podcast and say video in the same sentence.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a vlog. It's a
Look,
streaming vlog.
Lionel, he's slow. We're going to teach him eventually.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Well, he is the dude after all.
All right, James, thanks for being here tonight. Holly, Joshua, Lionel Strang. Guys, let's go run some trains.
All right.
Good night.
Yeah.
Bye, Lionel.
All right.
All right, we need to do a thumbnail.
All right.
So, what do you want to do? You want to wave? Lionel, you want to wave? Yeah, that like that.
You gotta wait for a few minutes. I'm gonna.
This is going to be a long edit. It's not getting out until Tuesday, I have a feeling. I'm holding up an Intermountain locomotive. What is that noise?
Yeah. That's
Ready,
loud.
set, and smile.
Good night.
Okay, we have that.
Yay!
Now, this has some nice weight to it.
We let camera 1 roll for 45 seconds while I roll credits. Lionel, I'll bring your sound back onto the TV set so we can socialize with you down here.
Rolling, rolling, rolling.
I know, right? Did you say you were mixing a drink, Lionel?
Not right this minute. But
I will
good.
kill sound. And good job, everybody.
Yay!
Thank you. Thank you, Holly.
All right.
All right, now I gotta get
I
a.
didn't realize I was this good looking.
I didn't realize it either until I saw you.
So Joshua, when are we going to do this interview, buddy? Let's set a date right now.
Okay, well, let's see. Let me look at my calendar because it's getting ready to be my
Oh,
birthday.
boy.
I'm gonna take a week off somewhere, and if I had a passport, I'd come up to Toronto. But yeah, that sounds about right. Let's see. The 21st, like day after tomorrow. The
28th.